Welcome to the Subway Conversation Chat. I'm your host, Jamie Malloy, and I'm ready to talk some New York Yankees and also New York Mets baseball on this Jackie Robinson Day with my co-host, Joe Dalio. So without any further delay, here's Joe. Hey, Joe, how's it going?
Hey, happy Tuesday. Jamie, how you doing?
Good. Happy Jackie Robinson Day in baseball.
Yes, I was watching some baseball earlier, all the 42s and no names on the back of the jersey. It's one of my favorite days in baseball of the season. Love how everybody does that and has the 42 and celebrates, and it's definitely a good day.
It made it easy for Mariano Rivera when he pitched. He didn't have to change his number.
Yeah, that's right. Although now it's retired, right? Nobody can wear it.
Nope. So do you want to start us out with some Mets updates?
Yeah, I could do that. You made a comment before. I don't know if I'm committing a sin here wearing a hockey shirt during a baseball podcast, but like we said, you and I like to tell jokes on this show, and there it is. But anyway, let's talk some Mets here. No joke, the Mets are still playing some good baseball. And we'll start with some injury news here. Now, it's funny because I was looking this morning for any final updates, and there was this whole list of transactions for today. I was like, oh my goodness, what the heck's been going on with this team? But about 20 times it said this player has switched their jersey number from whatever to 42. They actually listed that in the transactions this morning. So-and-so switched jersey number to 42. Now I wonder if tomorrow we're going to look and it's all going to go back the other way. But like I said, it freaked me out a little bit because I said, well, let me just see if there's any final updates. I like to keep this updated throughout the week. But, that was, pretty interesting that in the official New York Mets transactions, they had every single guy switching their number to 42. No major moves as far as the Mets are concerned, but just to keep up with some injury news. Now, some of their good players are recovering from injury here, especially Francisco Alvarez, the catcher. He actually started a rehab assignment in St. Lucie, and he's been doing that for the last few days. This has been since, I think, last Wednesday. And today, actually, he's going to be doing a rehab start at Double-A Binghamton for those Rumble Ponies. So definitely making some good progress and not too far away from getting back to the Mets. And luckily, the Mets have had some good play, good hitting and catching at catcher. But it'll definitely be great to have Francisco Alvarez back. Jeff McNeil kind of going along the same path. He also started a rehab assignment at St. Lucie, I think the same time, like Wednesday or so. And he's going to continue that through Thursday, but then he's going to go up to AAA Syracuse. So he also not too far away. And same thing, some guys, playing second, holding their own. Doing a fine job, but it'll certainly be nice to have the extra depth and experience of Jeff McNeil. Sean Manaea is starting to play catch now from 60 feet. This was as of yesterday, so that's a positive sign. He's still a decent amount of time away from coming back, but that's progress, and we'll certainly take that. He's got that oblique strain. And as of today, some guy named Ronnie Mauricio, who was one of the Mets' hottest prospects a few years ago before during his ACL and had a setback with that. He is actually scheduled to serve as a DH in an extended spring training game today. Excuse me. So the fact that he's, on the field doing stuff, that's encouraging. Now, where he's going to fit into the Mets' plans at this point, a lot remains to be seen. He's a shortstop, but, they might have some room for him at second base, depending on how some of these other guys go. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully, his knees continue to recover. Also, pitcher Paul Blackburn, who was a starter, but a long reliever at this point, is how the Mets plan to use him. He's been on the IL, and he's scheduled to throw 2 innings of live batting practice today, so he probably already did that. So we'll give some updates on how that goes and his progress. Now, unfortunately, the Mets lost somebody here, one of their outfielders, Jose Siri, who they planned on having a lot of time in center field. And he wasn't hitting too well to start the season. But as I said, last couple of weeks, he was a spark plug. He had speed, plays a good center field. He fouled a ball off his shin. And at first they called it a bone bruise, but now they're officially calling it a broken tibia. So he's on the IL. The report, when I looked up how long is he going to be out, they just said, quote, extended time. So unfortunately, I would guess based on those kind of injuries, we're talking a couple of months, depending on how long it takes to heal them. So again, not one of the major players, but again, fielding wise, they're going to have to, make some moves. And I know Brandon Nimmo played some center field in past seasons, so they could put him in there, and they're just going to have to move some guys around and see what's going on. So besides Siri, who's going to be out again that extended time, looks like some of these guys that have been out making some significant progress. So we should hopefully be seeing them in the Mets lineup very soon. So let's turn it over to you, Jamie. How about some Yankees news now?
Absolutely. As always, we're going to start with the injury report. Number one, we have infielder DJ LeMahieu and as you know, he's been dealing with a left calf strain. He is ready to start batting practice at the Yankees minor league complex to build up strength. It will simulate a full spring training. Expect return in April and May. But I got to be honest with you, if the boss, if George Steinbrenner was still alive, I bet you he would tell LeMahieu to kick rocks because Oswaldo Cabrera is not doing a bad job, and Oswald Peraza is doing a good job filling in for him. Mm-hmm. And then, but I think what I would do is, like I said, keep Cabrera as the starter, let LeMahieu come out the bench, and then Peraza can go back down to the minors and get it on full playing time down there, and then they can call him back up when they need him. And plus, Cabrera can play third base, which is good too. Anyway, number two, we have the lightning rod, Jonathan Loaisiga, right-handed pitcher. He is recovering from right UCL surgery. On April 5th, he is thrown in Double-A Somerset's bullpen. And on April 12th, he threw a live batting practice at Yankee Stadium. His expected return is either later in April or sometime earlier in May. Number three, we have Marcus Stroman with a right-handed pitcher. He has a left knee inflammation. And before last Saturday's game against the San Francisco Giants, the Yankees placed Stroman on the 15-day injured list. On Friday evening, Stroman slowly walked off toward the dugout in the first inning, in probably a situation that should have never happened if the league actually did this right. Obviously, you can't control the weather, but that weather was so bad. Even Aaron Boone said that was one of the worst weather conditions in the history of baseball. And like I said, it cost Stroman a knee injury, and Judge almost slipped. And it was just, I'm glad they got the game in, but still. And
yeah, anyway, they only got 6 innings in, right? I think.
Yeah.
Because Stroman got smacked around and the game was over. And I think they realized they shouldn't have played that game, and they stopped it after 6 innings, which was smart.
They had to play him, though. It's an international league game. You can't make those up. But
right.
Anyway, Yankees manager Aaron Boone indicated that Stroman stated he had a problem with his left knee after he pitched in the game. Stroman had x-rays taken at Yankee Stadium and then went to the hospital for more testing. To fill in for Stroman's absence, the Bombers called up right-handed pitcher Alan Winans for AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre. The 29-year-old has only given up 1 unearned run in 2 2/3 inning with Scranton Wilkes-Barre this year. Stroman's injury seemed to solve the Yankees' problem of how to bring back right-handed pitcher Clark Schmidt into the Yankees rotation. Schmidt is scheduled to start sometime during the Kansas City Royals visit, and it's believed that as early as tomorrow he'll be he'll be actually making his debut.
Okay.
So let's turn it back over to you, Joe, for some more Mets highlights. Joe?
Okay. Well, the Mets are still rolling here, off to a very good start. Now, since we spoke last show, this is including Tuesday evening's game because it wasn't over at the time that we were on the air here. So they've gone 4-2 since last Tuesday. 1-1 against Miami. They split those. They won Tuesday, lost Wednesday. Then they went to Sacra Vegas. They played the Sacra Vegas A's, and 2 out of 3 in that series. And so far, one game that they've beaten the Twins. So I had said that before. If they could go 4-2 on this road trip, this current road trip, the 3 against Sacra Vegas and the 3 against Minnesota here, that would be great. So far, they are 3-1. So let's get at least one more win here between the 2 games against Minnesota. So outscoring opponents 31-20 in those games. Now, the one is a little bit of a mirage. They scored 10 on Tuesday night. So if you take that 10-5 score out, 21-15, they outscored their opponents in the other 5 games. So still 4-3. So a little bit of a step up offensively. Pitching has been amazing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But just to go over some of the hitting stats here. Now, I think Pete Alonso is very relieved to have taken care of this contract situation, and he looks very comfortable with the fact that he's still with the Mets here. So after settling that contract, he's off to an amazing start. This week, he had a home run and 4 RBIs. 1125 OPS, and he's second in the major leagues in RBIs. So he's got 19 total, and a couple of guys ahead of him have 20. Ex-Met Wilmer Flores with 20, and some guy you might know named Aaron Judge. Here's a pretty good player as well. So they have 20, Alonso right behind them at 19. Luis Angel Acuna starting to get it going. I was talking about guys stepping up in the place of Jeff McNeil. Now, no homers or RBIs for Acuna, but a .417 batting average, 1083 OPS. So he's getting on base and doing things when he gets on base. He had a couple of stolen bases, 4 runs scored as well. So again, not so much the home runs and RBIs, but just getting things done, getting on base, and making things happen. Now, Brandon Nimmo, it's weird, playing very un-Brandon Nimmo-like. Now, he's known for getting on base and, keeping counts going long, but he's got 2 home runs, 2 RBIs this week. So, again, the power numbers have gone up in the last few years, but not getting on base as much, only a .286 on-base percentage, which is below his standards for sure, but below the average as well. 5 strikeouts as well, which again is a little unusual for him. So again, the power and production is there, but the on-base percentage and again, keeping the counts going, not so much. So I'm sure that's going to balance out. Now, some guy that people may be struggling, hey, how's Juan Soto doing so far? Well, it's kind of a good news, bad news situation with him. Now, I was watching the game yesterday. I had the Twins broadcast on, but they were saying several times, every time he came up, he was like 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position so far this season. He came up 3 times in a row. His first 3 at-bats, guys were on base, and he didn't produce. Then the 4th time, somebody on second base, he comes up again, this time with a 2-run home run that put the game away. So off to a little bit of a slow start, but I'm going to tell you right now, Juan Soto is the type of player that I'm not concerned at all about a little bit of a slow start. He doesn't look like he's pressing. He doesn't look like he's, feeling the pressure. He's played in New York, obviously, as you know, had a great season with the Yankees last year, so it's not a problem for him to play in New York. Again, I really don't think the pressure of the contract, because you would think maybe, could that be the case? I don't think so. I think he's just off to a slow start, and I think he's definitely going to get it going. I don't know if it's the cold weather. I don't know, again, just getting things going, but he'll be fine. Other guys, Luis Torrens and Mark Vientos, each with 3 RBIs this week, though Vientos, along with Lindor, Beatty, all hit under 200 this week. So we know Lindor got off to the cold start last year and off to a little bit of a cold start again this year. But again, if last year is any indication, we know he'll get it going as well. Some guy that I'm not so sure about getting it going is Starling Marte. Went 1 for 12 this week and really struggling. And again, I had said that the Mets only really kept him because there was no place else for him to go. But it seems like he's getting a little bit less playing time, maybe a little more now that Siri is out. So hopefully he can get it going. But the story of the Mets this season has definitely been the pitching. And that's what, even with a cold offensive start for the Mets, they're not scoring a lot of runs. They have been scoring more lately, but it's pitching that's kept this team in games and got them to where they are at this point. So some mentions here. David Peterson continuing to pitch well, pitched 6 innings in his start this week. He did give up 7 hits, but only 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. He took the loss, but still not going to complain about him going 6 good innings. All right, here's a good story. Kodai Senga looking very 2022-like here. He went 7 innings in his start against the A's and only gave up 4 hits in those 7 innings, no runs, a .86 whip. So if he's going to continue to go in this direction, it's going to be a big boost to a pitching staff that's already pitching quite well. Ex-Yankee here, Clay Holmes. He pitched a good game yesterday, 5 innings, a couple of hits, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts, got the win there. So his best start. Tyler McGill was solid. He only pitched 4, which we would like to see a little more, gave up 6 hits, but only gave up 2 unearned runs there and 7 strikeouts, even though he did take the loss. Griffin Canning, the other starting pitcher, he was the only one that really struggled as far as his starts this week. He got the win, pitched 5 innings, 5 1/3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 earned runs, though. So, again, a win's a win, though. The team scored for him and got that going. Now, remember at this time last year, we were talking about the Mets relievers, and I think they were the top or the second best relief staff in baseball the first couple of months of the year. And then all of a sudden they hit like a major tailspin in the middle of the season. Well, they're not only one of the best, I don't know what their ranking is yet, but they got to be close to the top. I should have looked this up. But their relief pitching has been absolutely amazing here. Here's some mentions. Now, Ryan Stanek, who was picked up last year as just like a mediocre depth guy, so far has been excellent this year. This past week, pitched 3 innings, only gave up 1 hit, had 5 strikeouts in those 3 innings. Max Kranick, who they got this year, 3 innings, 1 hit, no walks. So that equals a .33 whip and a 100 batting average against. So Kranick doing well. I talked last couple of weeks about Huáscar Brazoban. He pitched 3 more innings this week. Again, only 1 hit, 1 walk given up. That's a .66 whip. The only relief pitcher that Mets fans have a right to complain about, some guy named Edwin Diaz. He kind of had a little meltdown here. Now, it was a non-save situation, so perhaps, not, coming in his best mental A game here. But he pitched an inning and 2/3, gave up 3 hits, 4 walks, and 5 earned runs. That equals a 27 ERA and a 4.2 whip. Not exactly your best outing. And again, I'm going to chalk it up as a bad outing. And again, the fact that it wasn't a save opportunity, hopefully, he can get the job done, the next couple of times he comes in. So that's basically it. Now, as we look forward to this coming week here, you got today and tomorrow against the Twins. Tomorrow's a day game, I think. And then a 7-game homestand that they'll come home to a 4-game series against the Cardinals Thursday through Sunday. And then the Phillies come to town Monday through Wednesday. Now, a busy stretch here, though, so no off days until Thursday the 24th. So the Mets playing throughout here. They, coming off the weekend series, they went straight through, and again playing Thursday, that 4-game set, and again nothing until next Thursday. So let's go at least 4-3 in those games. Again, they're all at home. They've been playing very well at home, if not 5-2. Now, the big complaint for the Mets, some people are saying, well, the Mets haven't played anybody yet. And that's partially true. I mean, they've beaten the Marlins, the A's, the Twins haven't hit their stride yet. So I get that, again, not playing the best teams at this point, but you know what? They're winning these games. And that's what you have to do. So take advantage, again, to get the rest of this series. Beat the Cardinals 2 out of 3. And if they can beat the Phillies 2 out of 3, that would be excellent. The Phillies will be their first, really good team that they're playing against. So that's basically it as far as what's going on in Mets land here. Jamie, I'm going to ask you to tell us about what's been going on with the Yankees and what stands out to you this week.
Well, Joe, there is one guy who's certainly trying to get out of a slump, and I think he's accomplished that so far. We got to know, how did Cody Bellinger persevere from the slump? Anyway, Cody Bellinger arrived to the New York Yankees with high expectations. The Yankees believed they would be getting an all-star hitter on a bargain type deal, which I still think they are getting out of him. Mm-hmm. Well, starting off hot, Bellinger ran into some adversity with a sore lower back and food poisoning from a bad order of chicken wings.
All right.
But it's all in the past now, as Belly, using a hockey name in baseball, had his best game in the Yankees' 8-4 win over the Baltimore Orioles. Sorry, Matt Trigger, last Saturday. Anyway, we have a quote from him. Belly said, "It felt good. I was just excited to contribute to the W," Bellinger said. "It's been a little unfortunate, but there's a lot of baseball left. I'm excited to be a part of this team. This team is very, very impressive." Indeed, they are. With only 7 hits in his first 37 at-bats, which means he was batting only 189, Bellinger stroked an RBI triple and a go-ahead single, scoring twice as the Yankees thumped right-hander Jordan Hicks for 7 runs in over 4 innings. Aaron Boone could fear Bellinger's breakout game-winning to happen, as it was just hampered by bad weather and a slumping offense that got out to a hot start prior to that. Maybe the torpedo bats, but we don't have to say that.
Not too many people talking about those these days.
They had their 15 minutes of fame. Anyway, we have another quote from Aaron Boone. "I mean, it was 15 degrees last week in Detroit," Boone said. "We can bang. Those guys can bang." Additionally, Paul Goldschmidt drove in 2 runs, what was an RBI ground rule double as part of a 5-run 5th inning, which helped rookie starting pitcher Will Warren earn his first MLB win. And we have a quote here from him. "It's a big accomplishment," said Warren, who had family members at the game, including his wife, Darby. "I've been waiting a while to get that one off the table, so it was fun." Anyway, Anthony Volpe hit a sac fly, and Jason Dominguez added a 2-run single that snapped a personal 0-for-15 drought in the 5th. Rice smacked, get this, 113.2 mile an hour.
Wow.
Exit velocity solo home run in the 6th, marking it the hardest hit ball of the second-year player's career thus far, or any second-year player, really. And Rice said, "That's just how our lineup goes. It's contagious sometimes." Rice said, "There's good at-bats. Those quality at-bats, they just spread. Guys are looking good right now." The Yankees lead the AL with 27 home runs, evening their mark through 14 games in franchise history in 2011 and 2020. We have another quote. "It was a really good offensive performance," Boone said. "I felt like up and down we had a lot of good at-bats. We were really able to really lean in the big inning and get it home from there." Warren limited San Francisco to 2 runs over 5 innings, providing just enough length a day after Marcus Stroman was put on the 15-day injured list with left knee inflammation.
Yeah, you're talking about Ben Rice. I guess you could say Ben Rice is cooking.
Yeah. Don't he is cooking, and don't take it take it with a grain. He's cooking.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm. I'm really excited for Warren, quote Boone said. He did he just did a good job. Sorry, folks, mixing his pitches, and for the most part, dictating counts. He had a lot of useful pitches throughout. Wilmer Flores, who we just mentioned, hit a 2-run homer for the San Francisco Giants in the second inning, representing the lone blemish for Warren. The pitcher finished the game with 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 2 hits. And we have a quote, "I've learned a lot," Warren said. "There's a lot of guys in this clubhouse to lean on and learn information from. All we need is somebody to lean on. Do. Breaking down each outing every week. It's the process of knowing what to do, when to do it, and executing when you go out there." In the Yankees bullpen, Fernando Cruz led up a 2-run single to Flores in the 6th inning, but Luke Weaver, Mark Leiter Jr., and Devin Williams pitched shutout ball the rest of the game. Williams entered the game in the 9th inning with a non-save situation, but he bounced back after letting off a leadoff walk and a double to retire the last 3 batters, 2 via the strikeout. We have a quote here. "We're going to look up eventually, and he's going to be rolling, and he's going to be one of the game's great closers," Boone said. "We're going to see that this year. Hopefully, this is something that can domino into getting him more and more settled." Joe, how awesome was it that Bellinger's bounce back game led to a domino effect of great plays leading to another New York Yankees victory?
Yeah, it usually does, right? Hitting is contagious. You know, it's like yeast spreading in rice, I guess. No, but you know, anytime a player like that, I mean, they're all pulling for him. They know he's trying. You know, it's tough to join a new team and produce right away. And, you know, they know he's struggling, but they know he's trying. They know what kind of a player he is and that he's going to get out of it. And then when a player does get out of a slump like that, it's contagious. And not only are they happy for him but again, it spreads around the team. It's funny how many times in the history of baseball do we see that in a collective way? When a bunch, it seems like when one guy is slumping, everybody's slumping, right? Everybody goes on slumps at the same time. And the opposite is true. When somebody's on a tear, all of a sudden, you know, especially an influential player, everybody goes on a tear, and the team
bunches, yeah.
is unstoppable. So, you know, I think again that could set off a domino effect here. That again, he will get it going, and again, we know what kind of player he is. So, you know, it's kind of like what I was saying about Soto before. It's like, yeah, slow start, new team, getting used to stuff, but again, we know the caliber of player there. It's the same with Cody Bellinger. He'll be fine. And I think his teammates know that. And I think they're very happy to see him, you know, get off the schneid a little bit and, you know, make his first impacts here.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? How about Ben Hess and Bryce Cunningham? Who, Jamie? Well, I'll tell you who these 2 young men are. The New York Yankees pitching situation might be in trouble right now, but that's not the case in their minor league system after 2024 saw them draft like a boatload of pitchers. We talked about that, Joe, remember?
Right.
Ben Hess was one of them, and so was Cunningham. But anyway, in High A Hudson Valley, 2024 first-round pick Ben Hess was literally pumping and also delivering gas in his first pro start.
That's very good. I figured we were going to hear a gas reference in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. The big pitcher with the mustache, like Paul Skeens, struck out 9 guys, showcasing that big fastball that at the minimum he was throwing 95, but he can throw it up to 99, which is pretty cool. So he's kind of a cross between Garrett Coles and Paul Skeens. He's a big arm pitcher. While in college, the 22-year-old set a program record at Alabama with 106 strikeouts.
Wow.
You know, he compares to both Hess compares to both Garrett Cole and Paul Skeens with a hard-hitting fastball and also a nasty slider pitch. Hess just needs to work on his control by cutting down in walks allowed. As for Cunningham, he too made a great first impression, striking up 7 while also using a big fastball pitch. Cunningham is also a big pitcher. His bread and butter is a big 4-seam fastball that can top 97 or 98. Wow. Along with a slider. Both Hess and Cunningham have big arms, but right now Cunningham has better control of his fastball and less walks than Hess does. The fact that they went from college and right to high A from single A this season shows that they can be early bloomers through the Yankees minor league system, kind of like how Paul Skeens was.
Excellent. Now, you might have said it. Were they drafted the same year?
Who? Hess and Cunningham? Yeah.
Yes.
Hess was drafted in the first round. Cunningham was the second round. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. If they both play their cards right, Hess could be pitching in the big leagues maybe during a September call-up, while Cunningham could be with AAA Scranton by the end of the year.
Great.
And then both of them next year could probably vie for a roster spot in spring training. So, Joe, why is this a promising sign for the Yankees minor league pitching system and also helpful with the big league rotation being decimated by injuries this year?
Yeah, first I want to acknowledge a comment that's been sitting here. We got one from Rudy. It says in Homestead, Florida, perhaps. So if you're still watching, thank you for commenting there. But yeah, it's definitely an encouraging sign for the Yankees here to have pitchers with those reputations progressing as quickly as they are. And you're talking about either late this year or, next season, getting a taste of potential big league action and, both of them at least getting upper minors action by the end of the year. I think that's definitely encouraging news for Yankees fans. And, who couldn't use a guy like that, a Paul Skeens-like, thrower. So yeah. Definitely, I'll be keeping an eye on that too, because I wasn't aware of those guys. I know you had mentioned several times, that the Yankees stockpiled some pitchers and they had some bright futures there. I guess I didn't realize they were this close. So definitely, you got me keeping an eye on them, and I think it's definitely an encouraging sign for the Yankees and their fans.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, let's move on to the current. Why does bad history keep repeating for Yankees hurler Carlos Rodon? Anyway, oops, he did it again. New York Yankees big arm pitcher Carlos Rodon keeps playing with the Yankees' hearts, and he also got lost in the game, specifically on the pitcher's mound. Is he really that innocent, though? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, in his previous start, get this. In his previous start to his previous start, meaning 2 starts ago, Rodon was angry, delivering his frustration about how many walks he's let up, following by giving up the home run ball after that. Mm-hmm. Last Sunday afternoon, history repeated itself like bad shampoo. Richard repeat, maybe he should talk to Tiny Troy and use Head and Shoulders to get out of that.
Right.
And the bad flakes will go away. Anyway, after looking unstoppable going into his 6th inning, Rodon gave up his usual walk. And then what followed after that was, of course, a costly home run ball to Young-Hoo Lee. The Yankees ended up losing to the San Francisco Giants 5-4. If you look at the glass half full, Rodon had mostly another good day. It's just that bad luck of history where he throws a walk and then he gives up the home run ball. Joe, it was kind of like watching the Sabres and Syracuse basketball this year, where the Sabres would get out to a 2-goal lead, and then what happens? They would give it up and lose by 1. Or Syracuse had a double-digit league leg. What would happen? They would lose by 2 or go to overtime to lose. So, but you can realistically, if you're a live average person, like my grandpa used to always say, because he was a Yankees fan, you know that this is not going to occur for all 162 games. Eventually, at some point, he'll snap out of it. And we have a quote, just frustrating, Rodon said, falling behind. Guys, we have the momentum, and I just got to be better. On another positive note, Jazz Chisholm Jr. broke out of his 0-for-24 slump by smacking a Louis Armstrong type of home run to start the 8th inning that made it a 5-4 Giants lead. The Yankees were blanked in the 9th inning and fell to 8-7, while the Giants improved to 11-4. The Yankees had a 3-1 lead in the top of the 6th inning, but Rodon walked Willie Adams on 5 pitches, and the next pitch was the critical 3-run home run allowed. And we have just a terrible execution on a curveball that he punished, Rodon said. So, Joe, how does this bad luck keep happening to Rodon? And like I said, it was like watching the Sabres in Syracuse get out to a lead and then blow it at the end every single time. What does Rodon have to do differently, or is there nothing you could really do different? You just have to pitch through it because you can't fundamentally change something that's bad luck.
Yeah, right. First of all, I have to correct you, Jamie. I mean, come on. The Sabres don't blow 2-0 leads. They blow 4-0 leads. Come on. And they've done that on more than one occasion. So
2-goal leads they do too, though. But anyway.
Right. So, anyway. All right. And I'm going to have to resist the Britney puns too, because that'll start getting too toxic on this show. But anyway, as far as Rodon, I have a confession to make. Like the other night, the Yankees were getting pounded. Now, it turned out to be Marcus Stroman that was the one. But when I heard the score of the Yankees game, the first thought in my head is, oh, shoot, it must be Rodon on the mound. Because he had a few games like that last year. He's a little inconsistent. I mean, he's got, the talent. And, you ask the question, how can he get out of this historical phase where, again, he walks people and, then gives up the home run ball after that? I guess my only answer to that would be he's a talented enough, professional enough pitcher to be able to get himself out of it. And he's just going to have to figure it out. I mean, he's good enough that this is not going to be an all the time thing. He's going to have some great starts here. The only problem with him, again, is that he has that great start and you think, oh, that's it. He's got it together. Here we go. Let's look for him in the next start. And then he pulls stuff like that, where it's like, wait, what happened to the guy that was pitching the other day? So, or, the opposite happens. It's like, oh, God, here we go. We got Rodon on the mound. And then he pitches a gem. So he's got the capability, and I think he's smart enough to figure out, how to get out of those situations. And I honestly think that he will. So, and you had asked another question in regards to that, but which I don't remember now. But yeah, I think, like I said, they do need more consistency from him, and whether that'll happen, I don't know. But as far as, again, he's going to figure this home run and walk situation out, and I think you'll see improvement as the year goes on.
Because I'll tell you, it's definitely not the beard, right? I mean, he's taking advantage of the new Yankee policy. He's growing up a full beard. Max Fried is starting to too.
Yeah, they dove right in there and took advantage of that.
Dominguez is doing it. So anyway,
that's right.
Moving on, folks. Let's see. Aaron Judge is Captain America. But can he be the USA Baseball's version of Anthony Mackie? Because Anthony Mackie was the star of the remake Captain America.
Right. Shows you how much I know about movies.
Yeah. It's pretty anticlimactic, though, that Aaron Judge, the king of baseball, who plays for the New York Yankees, would, of course, play for Team USA and be captain for the 2026 USA World Baseball Classic roster. It was one thing that he did, also one thing that he didn't play on Team USA's 2023 roster due to contract situations with the Yankees, but that team was already stacked without him. Well, this year, the captain is here, ready to get revenge on Team Japan for beating them in the 2026 gold medal game, and Shohei Ohtani for striking out Trout. Anyway, We have a quote here. I was looking forward to this opportunity again and getting the chance to represent and be a captain, something that Trouty, another hockey name in baseball, did the last time. Judge said it's a pretty special honor. So anyway, Judge will be replacing outgoing captain Mike Trout, but here's to hope that Trout will still be his teammate and on the USA roster, and I think he will, based on those comments.
Mm-hmm.
The 32-year-old is in year 3 of his. This looks like a bargain deal now for him. 9 years, $360 million contract with the Bombers, and I say that's a bargain because look at what Juan Soto's would have had to make with the Yankees, and look at what he's making with the Mets. And Judge is making less than Soto. Isn't that interesting? Judge?
Very.
I mean, not Judge. I mean Joe. I called you Judge. Sorry, I meant to say Joe. My bad.
Hey, I'd love to be Aaron Judge for a day.
That's an honor. Anyway, the All-Star and MVP player has a career 289 batting average with 321 career home runs and a 1014 OPS.
Wow.
So, Joe, what's a World Baseball Classic roster without the Judge? And how happy do you think is he to finally be able to participate in this prestigious international baseball tournament? There are 2 questions, so go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's the best American player out there, right? Or one of them anyway. So definitely you're going to have a team like this. He needs to be a part of it. And it's an honor for, anybody to play for your country in a situation like this. And the last World Baseball Classic was a classic, right? With Ohtani striking out, Trout. So I think it's great all the way around. As a baseball fan, I would want to see Judge in the middle of this tournament, potentially making an impact. And again, if I'm Aaron Judge, which you just made me for a few moments here, I'm honored to be playing in this tournament for my country and making an impact as well. So definitely a positive.
Yes, it is. Anyway, Joe, guess what? It's now that time in our show for our question of the week segment. So would you like to give it a try?
I am ready.
Okay, Joe, here's your question. Can you guess this MLB team? They have the least playoff wins of all time.
Ooh.
Is it the Colorado Rockies, Seattle Mariners, LA Angels, Chicago White Sox?
Wow, very good question. They have the least amount of playoff wins of all time. Yeah. And you said White Sox, Angels, Mariners. Who was the other one?
The Colorado Rockies.
All right. No, I am definitely, I think I know this one, and I'll be shocked if it's anybody else. I'm going to say the Seattle Mariners.
No, it's the Colorado Rockies.
It is the Rockies. Wow. I thought because the Rockies went to that World Series and
no, 7, and they lost to Boston.
Right. Yeah, but you figure they played, they won 3-7. Yeah, they got swept in the World Series, I think. So
yeah.
But they have 7, right?
And the Angels, I think, they beat the Giants in 2002, I think. They won
the World Series there. So you had to win a couple of series. So I know
they
it was
beat
there.
The Yankees in the divisional round to get there, though, in 2002.
Yep.
So
I thought Seattle, even though Seattle won a series against the Yankees, that classic 95 series where Ken Griffey tore around the bases to score the winning run there. I don't think they won any other series. I know
the Yankees would have actually won that series because they were ahead going into the 9th, and the pitcher blew a save.
It was late, yeah, and they, Seattle made that crazy, comeback there. I know they were upset the year that Seattle broke the record for wins. It was 116 wins.
116, and the Yankees were 95 and 67, but both teams won the division that year, though.
Yes.
Because remember, they beat the A's that year, and the A's had 103 in the first round.
Was that the year they were down 2-0? Or
yeah, and they threw out Jeremy Jeter had the flip play, and he threw out Jeremy Giambi.
Yes.
And then we ended up signing Jason the next year.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's an excellent question. I was convinced that it was the Mariners because I know again the Rockies had that World Series run, and they've won a couple other playoff series, I think.
And the White Sox won in 2005 when they had Mark Burley, Joe Crede, and they had El Duque.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and they've won playoffs. They won World Series way back, but yeah. Okay. Great question.
yeah, when the White Sox won the World Series, that's when the Astros were in the NL, and then they moved to the AL.
That's
the
right.
Houston Astros. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Joe. That was my producer asking how many comments we had. We have one. Well, looks like we come to the end of our show. So, Joe, where can we find you in the social media world on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, a.k.a. Jackie Robinson Day, a.k.a. Tax Day?
Good thing I didn't forget to do my taxes, but I thought about that this morning. I was like, okay, we're good. Joe Dow Sports on Twitter X. You can find me there talking about baseball and other sports, with playoffs on the horizon. So all kinds of things, me putting my 2 cents worth in there.
Mm-hmm. And then you can find me, yours truly, on Bill's Chat 1 at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also at Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dog Tags, theforkball.com, and stadiumrant.com, where I write about all sports. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page. Don't forget to like, comment, hit that like button and ring the bell for notifications. You can also catch us on Open Mic Night, where Joe will gladly be making his debut on Open Mic Night tonight at 9:00 p.m. You can catch us that on Driving to the Top production after this show. And for more content and on this Driving to the Top Productions, you can visit our YouTube page, Twitch stream, Facebook stream, X stream, wherever you get your podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we look forward to you tuning back in with us next Tuesday, 8:00 p.m. on the Subway Conversation Chat, only on Driving to the Top Productions. Oh, and get your New York sports here with Jamie and Joe, the Subway Conversation Chat. Have a good night, folks.
All right. Have a good night and a great week.